Hello, everybody, and welcome to Golf Fitness 101. And I need to pull up my slides that I want to show you real quick. And I need to get a confirmation from you all that you are able to see this. Hang on one second. Sorry, it's taken me a second. Okay, no. Sorry. I gotta try that again. There we go. Had the wrong one. So welcome everyone to Fitness for Golf, the power of golf fitness. I am Janice Thornton, and I am very excited to talk to you about the power of golf fitness, because I know there's going to be a lot of personal trainers on here, physical therapists, chiropractors, PGA instructors, and I'm just excited to have you here. So welcome. This is a one-day webinar, and this webinar is going to take anywhere from 60 to 75 minutes today to get through. So big things I want to talk about is why golf fitness and understanding the unique needs of golfers, some key components of a golf fitness program. We're going to talk about some injury prevention and common golf injuries. We're going to look at the 4 pillars of the golf swing and look specifically at golf-specific joint function and look at some assessment techniques that you can take with your clients today. We're also going to talk briefly about integrating mental fitness and how golf fitness really impacts the mental game. And then I'm also going to introduce you to Fitness for Golf, the Power of Golf Fitness program. So let's go ahead and jump in. So this webinar is going to be for personal trainers, physical therapists, chiropractors, PGA instructors, anybody who works with golfers. If you don't play golf, this webinar is definitely for you. I geared this for that person who works with golfers, but they actually don't really play golf. And I just want to be able to assist you. And if you do play golf, this webinar is still for you as well. And if you're someone who loves to learn and enjoy new perspectives on training, then you're going to love what's in this webinar today. So let's go ahead and jump on in and let me tell you a little bit about myself, why you should maybe listen to me a little bit. That is my husband with me in that picture. He loves to play golf as much as I do, or maybe I love to play golf as much as he does. And he actually helps caddy for me. And I was playing in a match play season-long tournament, and he actually led me and helped me win that tournament that season a couple years ago. So originally, I am from Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, and yes, I am a cheesehead and love it. I do have a master's degree in exercise physiology from UW-La Crosse, and I got some of the best advice before doing my internship coming out of grad school. And it was to go somewhere where you have never been and move out of the state to do your internship. And I am so glad I did. I ended up moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma to do my internship. Did that in 1993, and I ended up meeting my husband in 1997. So very happy about that. Now, I have played tennis for over 25 years. However, I did have to quit at the age of 35 due to knee pain. I literally couldn't walk up and down stairs anymore just because of playing on hard court tennis for so long. But I did pick up golf, and I've been playing golf for now over 20 years. I am a single-digit handicap and have been a single-digit for the last 5 to 6 years. And if you're someone who doesn't play golf, what that means is that I'm actually pretty good. Now, I used to work in sick care. I worked in sick care for 25 years. I spent over 10 years working in cardiac rehab, and then I spent 15 years working in the pharmaceutical industry in sales. And I will say I saw a lot of illness every single day. I decided, though, about 5 to 6 years ago to create my own online personal training business. And then it was about the last year and a half I really decided to focus on working specifically with golf fitness and working with golfers. So I went crazy a little bit and got my TPI Level 2 fitness certified, my Golf Digest Golf Fitness Trainer certification. I have a NASM Golf Specialist certification, an ACE Personal Trainer certification, a Golf Forever Swing Trainer, and True Term Pro certification as well. And JT Fitness and Golf, my online personal training business, was featured in Golf Digest, the digital magazine, on their Fitness Fridays the last couple months. So that was fun. So I am a big competitor. I now live in Cave Creek, Arizona. I'm a member at Tatum Ranch Golf Club, and I am the senior club champion over the last 3 years for 22, 23, and 2024. I also play on a traveling golf team, and we play around the Phoenix area, playing on our team play. And then I love to play in other tournaments throughout Arizona and within the Tatum Ranch Golf Club up here in Cave Creek. And if you're wondering where Cave Creek is, we are just north of Phoenix, still in the valley, but we are just north of Phoenix. So my vision and mission is I love to share all that I know about golf and golf fitness. I want to be able to help a golfer's game by improving their strength, balance, flexibility, and mobility. And I know for myself, as I get older, I know I want to play golf well into my 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And as I get older, I want to be able to get my friends to come along with me and be able to play as well. So I love learning new stuff. I love collaborating with people to find out how we can age backwards and play a game that we love to play and play this game as long as we can. Now, I also want to help other trainers who train golfers and help them become, more rounded, a better trainer. And then that's why I created the golf or the Fitness for Golf program to help others be able to train people and take them to new levels. So I'm just curious if in the comments, if you will put, I'm curious to know how many of you who are on, whether you are watching live or you're watching the replay, how many of you actually play golf? So let me know if you play golf. And then how do you actually rate your golf game? I want to know that too. So let me know in the comments. All right. So I want you to know, as a trainer, how can trainers help golfers? Well, there are over 25 million people who played golf in 2022. There aren't enough fitness trainers to actually train all those people. We need more golf fitness trainers who understand how the golf body works. And we need trainers to discover the demands that golf places on the body. And I'm going to talk about some of that today. And then how to revamp some workouts specifically for the golfer. Because what do golfers need? They need strength, balance, mobility, and flexibility. They also need effective joint function. And all of those things we start losing as we get older. And what do all golfers want, though? We want to be able to stay strong for golf. We want to reduce stiffness and soreness, and we want to be able to keep on moving. So let's look at golf. So golf is a unique sport. We get to play all these beautiful courses, and not one of them is the same. So if you look at our court per se, our course, it changes every single time that we play these courses. There are so many variables that go into the golf course that once you step onto the golf course, something is different every single time you play. Let's look at the weather. It could be sunny, rainy, or windy. The undulation of the golf course, how hilly is it? There is so many things that happen to a golfer when you play on an undulated golf course, and I'm going to get into that. the lie of your golf ball. You could have a side hill lie, a downhill lie. Your ball could be in a bunker. You could be hitting out of a desert. You could be in the deep rough. You could be hitting from a bush. There's lots of things that can happen when you play golf that we have to take into consideration. There's a lot of different types of golf courses. You could be playing on a desert course, a links course, a park type with lots of trees. It could be hilly. It could be flat. Your body has to be able to adjust all the time when you are playing. And then the greens, even the greens, those change daily as well. And that's where more of the mental toughness comes in that I'll be talking about in a little bit. So why golf fitness? So golfers should train differently than your normal client who's there for weight loss, general health, etc. Or maybe your normal clients should actually train more like golfers. Because one thing that I have found, and this is before I really got more into the golf fitness, you might know somebody, or it could be yourself. I know this has happened to me, where I would be working in my yard or working in the house, and I'd go to reach for something. And all of a sudden, I tweak my back. And maybe if you're younger in your 20s and 30s, that hasn't happened to you yet. But I guarantee you, when you hit the 40s, that stuff can happen. And that's where I got to thinking, more people need to train like a golfer, because you should be training rotationally when you golf. But here's something that I notice when I go to gyms. I've worked in gyms. I work out in gyms that over the last 40 years. And this is just me observing different trainers across different gyms. Of course, cardio to warm up, great. But when you watch most of the trainers who are not teaching a class, they take the client through machines, dumbbell exercises, barbell exercises, maybe, and they may throw in some kettlebells, maybe. What I don't see, though, is rarely do I see someone working with a Basu ball to work on balance. And we all lose balance as we get older, and that's something that we definitely need to work on. Stretching or mobility. I rarely see trainers doing stretching and mobility exercises with their clients. Typically, that's on the client's time. And guess what? Then that client isn't going to actually be doing any stretching or mobility training. And then, of course, like I said earlier, there's no rotational training. And when it comes to golf fitness, we have to be getting rotational training in. Golf is a rotational sport. So again, what do golfers need? Strength, balance, flexibility and mobility, and proper joint function. We want our bodies to be working really well. Because what do all golfers want? They want to hit the ball farther. They want to reduce their risk of injury. They want to stay flexible and mobile. And they want the strength and stamina to walk 18 holes. I play golf with a lot of people in a range of 20-year-olds up to 95-year-olds. And I will tell you, all of them want to still be able to walk the course. Now, is it possible for my friend who's 94? No. She knows that she needs to ride in a cart, but she will tell me all the time, I would love to be able to walk 18 holes again, if she ever could. So that just never goes away. Now, there's a lot of demands in golf on our body, and this is what makes golf such an interesting sport and a fun one to train for, because when you look at the muscle engagement of the golf swing, you're literally using everything that you possibly can use, every part of your body. So if you look at the picture on the right, the gentleman in the bunker, he's got one leg out of the bunker, one leg in, he's having a crazy stance, and yet he's got to try to hit this ball, swing around the club, swing the club and get that club on the ball and get the ball out of the bunker. And I guarantee you, when I have to stand like that, and yes, sometimes you do, that I sit there and go, thank God I work out, because I can actually hold this stance. I'm going to show you some pictures soon that you'll be able to see where clients can't do it. The picture on the left, that's actually a friend of mine down in that bunker. And, she had to be strong enough to get down there, to get out of the bunker, to get the ball out of that bunker. And then the middle picture, This picture doesn't do it justice. It's at Pebble Beach, on how undulated, how hilly the course is. And you have to have the strength and stamina to be able to walk 18 holes. A typical golf course is anywhere from 5 to 9 miles. It's a long way of whatever's going on. So we want to make sure that you've got the muscle engagement. We have to make sure we're working the core, legs and glutes, back, arms, and shoulders, because when you get into some of these crazy postures, you want to be able to make sure you are strong enough. So, of course, we have all types of golfers. We've got our good golfers, we've got our more amateur and average golfers, and then, of course, we've got the guy who loves to play, once a year, and he's just out there definitely to have fun. So let's dive into the key components of a golf fitness program. And the first one is, let's focus on strength and power. The objective is to enhance your muscular strength to improve power and stability in the golf swing. So we want to focus on full body, doing core exercises, upper and lower body, making sure you also target your shoulder and rotator cuff as well. Now remember, golf is a very one-sided sport, so you also have to make sure that your client is working their non-dominant side effectively, because they definitely will have a weaker side. Most people, unless you're ambidextrous, and most of us are not, most people are very right-handed or very left-handed, and they will have a tendency to ignore that side that they're not working so much. Because we want to prevent injury on that non-dominant side, and we want to make sure that non-dominant side is as strong as the dominant side. So I love to do compound movements along with regular exercises. So sure, do squats, lunges, chest press, things like that. But I also love to incorporate like doing squats with a shoulder press, or a plie squat and a bicep curl, doing those compound movements, because you're making that golfer think by doing 2 exercises at once. And then you're also training them to be able to have a body that's able to be able to do multiple things all at once, because the golf swing is quite complicated. So the next component is going to be looking at flexibility and mobility. This one is very important for the golfer, because we want to make sure that our joints work well each and every day. So the objective is to increase range of motion for a more fluid and efficient golf swing. And what happens on the golf course, if your swing effectiveness decreases on the golf course, your quality of shots get worse, you get more aches and pains. The golfer is not going to be happy with that. And we want to make sure that we're targeting, shoulders, hips, and back a lot. And then getting your golfer to be doing dynamic stretching. They're ideal for the golf course and on the driving range. So if you do have a golfer who does like to walk, sometimes there's slow play, and I encourage my clients to all be stretching during that round of golf. If you are waiting for someone to hit their shots in front of you and you're just waiting before you can hit, do some stretches, because it encourages them to just get their range of motion going, because it'll keep them ready throughout the entire round of golf. And let's look at our body and stability, mobility, and the joint engagement. Our cervical spine, we want stability in our cervical spine. Our thoracic spine, we need mobility in our thoracic spine. In the golf swing, that is what we want to be mobile, because when we take that club head back, we want the rotation to come from your thoracic spine, and that's where it's supposed to come from. Our lumbar spine is supposed to be stable. Now, a lot of times, and I'll get into this when I talk about the low back pain, a lot of times though, people don't have mobility in their thoracic spine, so then it gets shoveled down into their lumbar spine, which is a bummer, because that's going to create some low back pain. We need our hips to be mobile. In the golf swing, which I'm going to get into, we need that mobility, those hips to be able to move. We need stable knees, and we need our ankles to actually be mobile. And you'd be surprised, especially in your older adults, the lack of mobility that they have in their ankles. So we have some key components of the golf fitness program of the cardiovascular endurance. And it's important that your clients keep up with cardiovascular endurance as well. Remember, golf courses typically are anywhere from 5 up to 9 miles long in length. And there are some that, man, if you take Erin Hills, for example, up in Wisconsin, that when you walk that course, and you have to walk that course, it's 9 miles long and a very hilly course. You need to be in cardiovascular shape to do it. So obviously we want to enhance muscular endurance, to be able to walk those 18 holes, and then also to be able to keep the golfers so that they have a good swing later in the round. But what happens during a round? If you're walking, you might get pooped on the back nine, your quality of shots go down, and then unfortunately you start to mentally check out, your score goes up, and that is no fun when that happens. But some great training techniques are to do the treadmills, ellipticals, rowers, hiking. You guys all know, your trainers, what to do for cardiovascular endurance, but have your clients also do interval training, hits, and Tabatas. So next, let's look at balance and coordination. This is another key component of a golf fitness program. Again, something I don't see a lot of trainers do with their clients. And you don't even have to have someone who's a golfer. Have someone, just Joe and Jane, working out. They need balance and coordination. And as we get older, we definitely lose our balance and coordination for sure. We want to enhance our stability and control during the golf swing. The golf swing we want it to be a compact golf swing, but the majority of golfers, because they're not very good, they have a slide and a sway and they're kind of all over the place. And when they have good balance and coordination, though, you can help enhance the stability of the golf swing. So what happens if we don't have it? You slide and sway, you lift your upper body up, you may dip down toward the ball. You can do a lot of crazy things when you don't have that balance and coordination. And just some key points is, balance exercises improve weight distribution on the golf swing, and it gives you better alignment when you have balance and coordination. You also want coordination exercises to synchronize body movements. The golf swing is supposed to be a very fluid event that's happening. And the more balance and coordination you have, the more fluid your golf swing can become. So using the Basu ball, single leg stands to do shoulder presses and bicep curls, lateral raises are great exercises. Using the stability ball exercises as well, so they have to coordinate themselves when they do exercise on the stability ball. They utilize more muscles. Or using the TRX is a great avenue for golfers. And then also doing golf-specific drills. We want to add those in because you want to mimic and improve specific movements and skills required in golf. And this is where rotation comes in, and anti-rotational exercises. Like I said, clients typically don't train for rotation, even though golf is a rotational sport. I talk to golfers in the gym, and I kind of laugh because they're still stuck in the old way of doing things. And that's just doing dumbbells and barbells and things like that. And I'm just like, you are missing out on a whole lot of things of really enhancing their golf game. But this is where medicine balls, the Basu balls, a swing trainer, or the True Turn Pro really come in handy to really help enhance your golfers. So let's look a little bit at injury prevention. And some common golf injuries are lower back pain, shoulder, hip, knee, and elbow pain. There's some things we can do for that, though. So some smart partnerships, though. I always encourage people to partner up with other personal trainers. We can always learn from each other. Physical therapists, massage therapists, and PGA teachers, we all should be working together and being coaches for this one client. So that way the client is getting the best experience ever. But the other great thing is when we work with each other and we work with physicians and chiropractors, add them in as well, we can all help each other just become better at what we do. So let's tackle back pain first. So typical low back pain for golfers, but what happens when we have low back pain is we also have limited thoracic rotation. Our thoracic spine is made for rotation. Our lumbar spine is made for flexion and extension. And a lot of times, though, because people sit so much at their desks or they're sitting in the car driving to and from work, we're always sitting. We're always doing things in one plane of motion. And this is where we need to get that thoracic spine mobile. And this is why I encourage you to take to your current clients that whether they play golf or not, that they start training rotationally because they need to get that thoracic rotation to get rid of some of that low back pain. When you have limited thoracic rotation, like I said, your low back takes the brunt of all of that force, and then you start developing all of those problems. And again, lack of mobility and flexibility in the spine is the cause. Let's get that spine as mobile as we can. Now, in the golf swing, what's happening? You might have bad swing mechanics or over-rotate. You might have muscle imbalances in your upper body that's causing this back pain, overuse and fatigue. There's a plethora of other things that can be happening also that's causing the low back pain. So let's dive into knee pain and what causes the knee pain in a golf swing. So again, your feet are planted on the ground when you address the golf ball. But as soon as you start taking your club head back, your feet stay there for the most part. And your lower body is turning when the club is being taken back. And this is going to be including your knee. So the golfer's feet, they're not really moving, and you're starting to put a lot of torque on the knee. And so when the golfer follows through, more torque is put on that lead leg knee. While the body is turning, though, the legs are trying to stabilize the body. You can be straining the meniscus and the ligaments of the knee. And if the golfer has any pre-existing conditions, that exacerbates the issue. I think about when I played tennis for 25 years, had all that knee pain. So yeah, there are days when my knees bother me during the swing just because of being an athlete for 25 years. But one of the things you can do is also make sure you see a teaching pro. Maybe they can do something to give you a more efficient swing as well. Also, to minimize the pain, strengthening exercises for sure for the legs, hips, glutes, and core. Increasing mobility and flexibility in the knee area is going to help. Also, increasing mobility in the ankle and hip area all affects the knees as well. So we want to make sure that your whole lower body remains mobile. Again, why mobility and flexibility are such an integral part of a golf fitness program. The golfer may need to change their foot position in the golf swing to allow the body to move easier. But again, that's where I'd get with the PGA instructor to be able to make those appropriate changes. But then again, check for imbalances in the muscles around the knee to see if some strengthening needs to happen on one area versus the other. Make sure the golfer has proper footwear. We all know as trainers that we need to have proper footwear when we exercise. So we also need to have proper footwear when we are playing golf as well. And like I said, see a teaching pro for a more efficient swing if you are having a lot of knee pain, but maybe you also need to go to the chiropractor or see the physical therapist and the personal trainer to come up with a great plan for you as well. So hips, we want mobility in those hips to give us a powerful golf swing. But unfortunately, some people do have a lot of hip pain. And think about the golf swing, though. It's a very repetitive activity that's going on. And the golf swing can lead to cumulative stress on the hip joints, particularly if a golfer plays a lot. If they have a very powerful swing, that can lead to hip pain. or if they have poor swing mechanics, that can really lead to hip pain as well. And your golfer, they may have pre-existing hip conditions. They may have arthritis or hip impingement, and they may find that their symptoms are exacerbated by the golf swing. So you might have ailments like bursitis, arthritis, labral tears, muscle strains, just to name a few things that could be going on in the hips. So again, of course, get with the appropriate like chiropractor technician who can help you, practitioner who can help you with making sure that you are getting the best results. But know the importance of flexibility and mobility when it comes to the hips. Strong and flexible hip muscles help support that joint, that they absorb the forces generated during the swing, and they prevent injury. Exercises focusing on hip strength, flexibility, and mobility are crucial for golfers to maintain joint health and optimize swing mechanics. And like I said, I've said 5 times already, mobility and flexibility should be part of every single workout, especially if you're working with golfers. So let's look at a little bit of shoulder pain and what's happening in the golf swing, shoulders during the golf swing. Like in the backswing alone, you have a high risk of impingement in the lead shoulder due to compression at the top of the swing, stretching and strain in the rotator cuff muscles in the trailing shoulder as well. In the downswing, when you're bringing that club head down, you have a risk of impingement in the trailing shoulder, significant stress on the lead shoulder's rotator cuff muscles as they decelerate and stabilize the arm. So here you have someone who is trying to swing hard to hit that ball far, but then remember now your shoulders and your back muscles, they need to be able to slow that club head down also. You're accelerating to decelerate. And your follow through, you have a potential for overextension or hyperflexion injuries in both shoulders, especially if flexibility is limited or fatigue sets in. So some contributing factors to shoulder injuries: force and speed. So again, like I just said, we are accelerating in the golf swing, but then we also have to be able to decelerate on the other side. And this can create significant forces within the shoulder joints, especially the rotator cuff and the bursa, put those under a lot of stress. Now the picture on this screen, I do love this stretch. This is a great stretch for golfers and non-golfers, just because if you're someone who sits at your desk a lot, you're going to want to be doing this stretch to really open up that chest, squeeze those shoulder blades together, get everything just moving in that upper body. But again, think about how repetitive golf is. You take practice swings, you've got your regular swings, and this puts a cumulative load on the shoulder structures, which of course increases the risk of overuse injuries. And then of course, if you don't have a perfect golf swing, which the majority of us don't, you can have incorrect swing mechanics, you can be over swinging, have poor body alignment, an improper grip. This all can exacerbate shoulder stress and increase your injury risk. But some preventive measures, of course, we can do strengthening exercises and really target that rotator cuff and scapular stabilizers, such as external rotation exercises, internal rotation exercises, shoulder blade squeezes. That's a great stretch to do. That's in this picture where she can grasp her fingers together behind her back. Excellent to do. If you have a client who's not able to do that, have them grab a towel and then work their hands toward each other and do both sides, so that way they can go ahead and work on improving their mobility and flexibility in the shoulders. But flexibility exercises, of course, emphasize the importance of maintaining shoulder flexibility through stretches that target chest, shoulders, and the upper back. And then lastly, let's talk about elbow pain. So with the golfer's elbow, that is the medial epicondylitis. Tennis elbow is lateral epicondylitis. So what causes elbow pain though in the golfer? A lot of times they have an improper grip size or their clubs may be too heavy, especially in your female golfers and if they're beginners. A lot of times these women will just get hand-me-down golf clubs, typically from a guy. And right then, most of the time, and most of the women, those clubs will be too heavy and they're already going to have an improper grip size because we have smaller hands. We're typically smaller than most men. A lot of elbow pain also can be done because people don't warm up properly. They love to go to the first tee right away and they don't even think about doing any type of warm up. So always encourage your golfers to make sure and ask them, do you do any kind of warm up before you get started, and find out if they are warming up, because you're going to want to encourage them to do so. Does your client grip too hard on the golf club? Because squeezing the golf club too hard puts pressure on the elbows. And then overuse, repetitive gripping, improper gripping, and repetitive swinging. So some things that you can do is grip and forearm strengthening, stretching, mobility with the wrists, and then also have them go seek out a PGA teaching professional so that they can learn the proper way to swing and grip a golf club. Okay, so this is just a check-in. Want to see how you all are doing and see what you think so far. Let me know in the comments. Okay, let's dive into the 4 pillars of the golf swing and look at golf-specific joint function. So the first pillar is forward flexion, and this is addressing the golf ball. In an older adult, you're going to find that they have a hard time addressing the ball. The next one is internal hip rotation, in the backswing, in the follow through, internal, external hip rotation. Lateral flexion or side bend. This is a very important pillar of the golf swing, along with thoracic rotation. Does your client have these 4 things that they can do to have an effective golf swing? If these four pillars actually work together during the golf swing, and if one area is weak, the golf swing will be compensated, and this leads to injury. But mind you, joint function and physical fitness are not equal. I can take some guy who is nice and big and he is very muscular, low body fat, looks great in the gym, and try to get him to swing a golf club. And I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 will not have good joint function because they're going to lack thoracic rotation, probably some internal hip rotation, and maybe even some side bend. But they will be strong enough for that forward flexion, for sure. But just realize, just because you're physically fit doesn't mean that you do well in these 4 areas. So joint function is the ability of your musculoskeletal system to articulate and stabilize movement without anatomical compensation. We need our muscles, ligaments, tendons, and fascia to produce kinetic energy to provide and support movement within our bodies. And if we have a neuromuscular problem arise, our range of motion or mobility of our joints and muscles can become affected, compromised, or dysfunctional, and this can affect our ability to move. So let's look at pillar number 1 and forward flexion. So this is stabilizing the forward flexion of our spine, knees, and hips. This is a picture of me doing a forward flexion. You have a 30 to 40 degree angle forward. We're going to have an anterior tilt of the pelvis. And we want to make sure we have a strong core and posterior chain because this gives the golfer a strong address position. You'll be very surprised. Weaker golfers have a hard time maintaining this spine angle and doing just this movement alone. A lot of times you will see the golfer with a curved spine, or they have a hard time even hinging at the hips. They would rather be much more upright in their position. And the goal is to maintain spine angle throughout the swing. So an assessment that you can do with your clients is just to have them get into a golf position, hand them some kind of stick, or if you do have a golf club, use that, and give them the cue to get into their 7-iron position. Can they get into that kind of position? Just assess how well do they hinge at the hips. Again, you'd be surprised at how many people can't hinge at the hips. This is another exercise that you can do, is have your client do a standing bent row in a straddle position and then attempt to do bent rows. I have found, I was teaching a class at a golf course, and it was a group class, and we were doing standing bent rows in a straddle position. I was shocked at how the older people really struggled with doing this. If they cannot do a standing bent row, they're going to struggle getting into a golf posture. And you already know then they need to work their posterior chain a lot. And like I said, weaker or older clients, they have a hard time hinging at the hips. They need core strength to be able to hold that position. So what's happening in the golf swing, though, if they can't do forward flexion? They're not maintaining forward bend during the golf swing. So they raise up on the takeaway and the backswing. They end up having a limited rotation. They may hit the ball fat or thin, and it's because they're raising up or they're lowering down, coming back down. And then, of course, they're going to get mad because they're not making good contact with the ball. Okay, so let's dive into pillar number 2, and we're going to be looking at internal hip rotation. On the takeaway, the trail leg goes into internal hip rotation, and your front leg goes into external hip rotation. But in this pillar, on your takeaway, you still want to be able to maintain forward flexion. So this is my friend Brigitte. She has beautiful forward flexion. She's got great internal hip rotation on her takeaway. And then when she's getting to the top of the backswing, this is one of the hardest positions to actually get into physically, and to be able to maintain that position. And again, if you are not strong on the posterior side, have a strong core, this is a very difficult position to hold and hold it well. And then, of course, we've got the downswing and follow through. Your lead leg then goes into the internal hip rotation at that point, and your trail leg goes into external hip rotation. So this is a great drill that you can do. So if you have online clients, you can do this drill with them. If you are in person, obviously you can do this. So it's called the cigarette drill. You probably have seen this one. It's a great way to assess internal and external hip rotation. So internal rotation, we want our hips to be able to do 40 degrees at least. External hip rotation, we want 45 degrees. And easy to do this, have your client stand up against the wall, feet hip width apart, but you do have them maintain their butt on the wall, knees straight, and then we're going to be pivoting off the heel. So of course you want to keep your hips squared during this exercise. So if your client can't internally rotate well, they have tight external rotators, and if they can't externally rotate, they have tight internal rotators. So that's just something to watch. Again, when I was at this club teaching some classes, it was amazing how many people, so test this with your current clients, see how well they can external and internally rotate. You might be surprised that they can't do it very well. So what's happening in the golf swing, though, if we can't internally and externally rotate? We end up overusing our shoulders, back, and elbows, which is not good. We end up using our low back more than we should, and then we also have power loss because of that. We get a loss of a swing plane, so now our club is just going all over the place. If we can't internally and externally rotate, we have loss of swing arc, so we lose power in the golf swing as well. We also will slide and sway with this, and then have general restricted movement. So internal and external hip rotation is really important for that golfer. Oh, and we also have a limited backswing and follow through as well. So again, we got to get some mobility going on with that golfer. So the next pillar, pillar number 3, is lateral flexion. And this is side bend. The side bend is something that is happening throughout the entire golf swing except for in 2 spots, and that's it. So in the picture on the left, this is my friend Carl Horn. He is the inventor of the True Turn Pro. And this is Carl in the left picture just doing a takeaway. All Carl did in the picture on the right is move his feet, and you can see that in that takeaway, there is such a huge side bend. So in a good golf swing, you should be able to have side bend. You will be shocked at how many people don't have the mobility in their spine to be able to go side to side. So there is an anatomical demand when it comes to the golf swing, because you got to maintain forward flexion of the spine while we're working through internal external rotation, or internal rotation of that trail leg. And then, of course, we've got the lateral flexion as well. The only time there's not lateral flexion in the golf swing is at address, and then when you are finishing the golf swing. And weaker golfers have a hard time getting into any kind of lateral flexion, which is going to affect the power of their swing as well. So an assessment that you can do, there's the easy one is the side bend test. You can do this up against a wall, which I do recommend actually, because you take out cheating with that. Have the client have their heels up against the wall, have their back up against the wall and their butt, and then gently go to the side, see how far down their fingers go, down their thigh, and then back up. Of course, do both sides to that. Again, make sure you have their feet together and hands will slide down their leg. You can also use the True Turn Pro. So this True Turn Pro, what makes it different and what's going to make a very effective lateral flexion test is the fact that you have what are called contralateral arms. If you look at the picture on the right, there's these arms that go onto my shoulders. And so when my hands are hanging onto the True Turn Pro, I have totally isolated my upper body. My arms cannot give me a false sense of movement, nor can my shoulders. So when I do a side bend, it is all coming from my spine and my spine only. So again, I've taken out my arms and my shoulders to give me a false sense of rotation or a false sense of side bend. So what's happening in the golf swing though? A limited side bend correlates with limited thoracic rotation. So again, if someone really can't get their spine moving, then that makes sense. You typically have an excessive sway during the backswing and follow through. And then there's just all the swing faults that affect the swing plane that goes in with not having a strong side bend. And then a lot of times your shoulder compensations happen, and this is because of limited coiling, because if you can't side bend, a lot of times you don't have that thoracic rotation, therefore you can't coil. So let's look at pillar number 4, and that is the thoracic rotation of the spine. So the picture on the right of the gentleman, he's got a beautiful swing. He's got great thoracic rotation. On the picture on the left, unfortunately, she does not have much rotation going on in the swing. And no, ladies, I am not picking on the women for this at all. But we want to be able to rotate that thoracic spine because it gives us the proper and desired amount of shoulder turn in that golf swing. We want to be able to have a very mobile thoracic spine because we all want to be able to turn in golf. The final phase of the swing causes the rotation of the torso, and this goes into the lead side of lateral flexion and thoracic rotation. So some assessments that you can do. The first one is just having your client get into a 7-iron position. So hinge at the hips, have their hands crossed across their chest, and then just have them do a takeaway like they normally would. You want them to go into an internal hip rotation on that takeaway though. Got to make sure they're not sliding over and then rotating. How far can they actually rotate? Keeping their hips as square forward as they can and keeping their feet on the ground. You can also do this seated in a chair. This is even a better way because now we've taken out the hips and you're looking specifically at thoracic rotation, having them cross their arms across their chest and then rotating over. And then again, you can use the True Turn Pro. Like I talked about, you've got contralateral arms that isolate your upper body. You have just, like I said, taken out your shoulders and your arms out of the movement. You're having to work at the spine level, and now you really get to see what the client can do. So what's happening in the golf swing if we don't have thoracic rotation is shoulders and arms are often overused in the swing. You have a limited coil, so the golfer is going to try to accelerate the club with their arms instead. And then that leads to all sorts of other issues that can lead to the golfer's elbow. It can lead to shoulder injuries, things like that. You have shifting and swaying of the hips instead of internally rotating the hips. So now you've got a loss of power. Nothing good is going on. So, okay, another check-in. Want to just check in to see how you are doing. Does everything make sense to you? Want to make sure you're loving what you're seeing. All of that good stuff. So let me know in the comments. Okay, we are getting there. So let's just touch on integrating mental toughness with golf fitness. Golf is such a difficult sport to play. The professional golfers, they make it look so easy. But when you are not a pro golfer, holy cow, this is one of the hardest games ever. And golf fitness truly helps with mental toughness. So why golfers need mental toughness and how being physically fit helps the golf game. Let's talk about that. Golf fitness enhances physical capabilities, makes you stronger. Therefore, when you are stronger physically, it automatically gives you stronger mental toughness. Golf fitness also integrates mental fitness to boost overall performance on the golf course. So when you are physically fit, you're able to take that to the golf course, because when you're working through a hard set, you're pushing yourself. You can carry that over onto the golf course as well and push yourself when you really need to. Because remember, there's a lot going on during a round of golf. If you're walking 18 holes, you're going to get tired. You're dealing with conditions. Some days it's super easy out there. Other days you've got, like in the picture, you've got a bunch of rain happening, and that takes a lot of mental fortitude to be able to play in the rain. Are you swinging easy that day? Some days your swing is so easy, and then other days you might go out the next day and go, what happened? Where did yesterday go? Where's that person from yesterday? All of a sudden, it's a much harder day. Your putts might not be falling. Someone might go, okay, what difference does that make? That really gets into your mental psyche. When you are not putting well, your putts are not falling. But this is where, when you've pushed yourself in fitness, you've made yourself stronger, it automatically turns into making yourself mentally stronger. You can dig deep and just keep on pushing, keep on making yourself keep going. It's going to be okay. You can help that mental psyche. There's some days though, like I said, you can't figure out why your swing is different. That is frustrating, but you just never know who's going to show up. But the more physically fit you are, the better off you can deal with handling when that happens. So fitness helps reduce anxiety and stress. As trainers, we all know that. This is one of the reasons that we encourage people to do fitness, is because it does help with our overall stress and anxiety. But on the golf course, we need lower levels of stress and anxiety. Playing golf, especially if you are playing in a tournament, there's a lot of stress and anxiety that's happening. And being more physically fit does help you remain more calm, and you have improved concentration when you are more physically fit. We all know exercise stimulates the release of endorphins, And obviously, these are our body's natural mood elevators. And so you can enhance the feelings of relaxation and positivity during your gameplay, because we want to be very positive during that round of golf. Now, fitness also helps improve with focus and concentration. You'd be surprised when you work with it, you can really tell in your older adults or someone who's never really exercised, they don't have that mind-body connection that when you are someone who exercises on a regular basis, we have more of a mind-body connection going on. And this is crucial for better swing mechanics and strategic planning around the golf course. Also, being physically fit boosts our mental endurance. So this aids in concentration. If you're having a long round, it could be if you're in a tournament you're waiting on every single shot, you have to be able to dig deep in there. Confidence. We all know fitness gives us confidence. And that's the great thing. When we are confident in our fitness side of things, it's going to carry over into the mental confidence side of the golf game as well. We achieved some great fitness milestones, building the confidence. So now when we can achieve those great golf shots, if we have a challenging shot that we've done, knowing that you're physically fit, like I said earlier, there's times when I literally will be standing over a shot going, thank God that I've exercised on a regular basis, because at least I'm giving myself a chance to hit a great shot. And of course, we know fitness always improves our body image and self-esteem, and that's going to positively impact our performance as well. And then, of course, fitness helps with resilience and coping skills. So overcoming fitness challenges, if we have something that we had to deal with fitness-wise, this is going to help develop resilience and aid in recovery from setbacks during play. So if you have any kind of injury, being physically fit, and then we can also really bounce back with that as well. And then also fitness is going to help increase stress tolerance. And this is beneficial for high pressure situations, especially if you're playing in any kind of tournament. Now, we all know we want to add in golf, we need mindfulness and presence when we're playing golf. So this is where including yoga and Pilates into a golf fitness routine is very important. I love having my clients do some yoga and some Pilates also, because it does give them the grounding. It gives them the breathing techniques that we need for golf. And if you're playing any kind of competitive golf, you're stressed about something on that shot that you have, you can do some breathing techniques to help you be able to really hit that shot. And obviously breath control, helping maintain calm and concentration during the day. So I feel like that Tiger is probably one of the most mentally tough golfers ever. I have seen him grow up. I saw him for the 10-year champion that he was, literally 10 years, that he is the epitome, and he is the person who truly brought fitness to golf. And I'm grateful for that. Because he really is the one who made sure he was physically fit during his golf rounds, and that carried over to his mental toughness. I will say this, Tiger did also work a lot on just doing mentally tough working with sports psychologists and things like that to also get mentally tough. So make sure that you can really coordinate the fitness to the mentally tough side, because I guarantee you, when Tiger was on fire, no one felt that they could beat him ever. And that's where you want your clients to be, that when they are doing the fitness, that all of a sudden now they're going to be just so confident in their golf game as well. Okay, so now let's talk about taking your training to the next level. So I hope you've enjoyed this webinar so far, and I'm going to do just a little quick check-in to make sure Yep, good. Everyone's hanging on. So let's talk about, like I said, taking your training to a new level. I have a course called Fitness for Golf, the Power of Golf Fitness. And like I said earlier, I have been through a lot of training on the golf fitness side. I wanted to gather as much information as I could so I could provide great workouts for my clients. But I always felt like there was some things still missing. So I decided to create my own course that I could help other trainers get the information that they're going to need and compile it all together. So why this course? Why Fitness for Golf? You're going to get an easy understanding of the golf swing as a personal trainer, physical therapist, or other professional. I included innovative training techniques because there's more than dumbbells and kettlebells and barbells to training golfers. You'll have an introduction to the swing trainer and to the True Turn Pro. And then, of course, from this webinar, we go in just to a much deeper dive. From this webinar, you get a plethora of exercises in the course to carry over into your training and so much more. So what's in the Fitness for Golf program? There are 10 different modules in this course. There's the Introduction to Golf Fitness, Golf Swing Mechanics, Injury Prevention and Management. Take a deeper dive there. There's a great module on anti-rotational and rotational exercises to incorporate with your clients. There's also mobility training versus flexibility training, another module full of exercises that you can do with your clients. The 4 pillars of the golf swing, this is where the True Turn Pro comes in. Also included in there is a lot of exercises with the True Turn Pro that you can do with your clients. Go over program design. There's a whole module on assessments, and then a bunch of corrective exercises that if your client is not passing the assessment, that there's corrective exercises to do with that. Now, know with these assessments, my whole business is online. I wanted to make sure that when you do these assessments, they are things that you can do online with your clients. They don't have to be in person. And then the final chapter is ground reaction force. How do you get your clients to be able to use their feet a little bit more in their golf swing? Because that's so important to generating power. And then just the last module is the acknowledgments. Now, this course takes anywhere from 6 to 8 hours to complete. There are PDFs and there are videos within each module. And then there are quizzes after each module as well. You do need to pass 80% or better. So what's in it for you? And I think you all are going to love what's in it for you. So you're going to get the latest and greatest golf fitness information, discover the biomechanics of the golf swing, how to train your golfers or any client that you have that plays rotational sports. These exercises you can transport over if you have pickleball players, tennis players, baseball players, volleyball, football, you name it, hockey. You're able to use these exercises for those clients as well. Again, you're going to find a plethora of exercises to take to your clients that you can use immediately and use those fitness assessments and more. After you finish the course, though, complete the course, pass the course with 80% or better, you've just unlocked yourself an earning opportunity. So once you pass, I get you your certificate. I'm also going to give you the opportunity to have an affiliate link. And with that affiliate link, you'll be able to share this course with your other friends who you feel would benefit from this course. And then with every person that signs up through your link, you're going to get paid $50. So think of it as a 30-minute personal training session, and all you did was share an affiliate link. It's just a nice, rewarding way for you to apply and share your new expertise. Also, you do get continuing education credits. I think this is the best news. I was very excited when this happened. So currently with NASM and AFA, you're getting continuing education credits and ACE as well. The nice thing is once you've completed the course, you will also be able to submit this course to wherever you have your certification through and petition for continuing education credits. I'll have a FAQ sheet for you, so that way you'll be able to enter in the information that the company will need in order to give you credit. Because what I found is that these organizations are looking for, if you're turning in continuing ed credits to petition, they want someone with a master's degree that or higher education than that who has written the course. And since I do have that, I'm going to say you're going to have a very successful chance of getting continuing ed credits. So just to go over some testimonials with you, I have 3 of them. So Keith, he said, let me start out by letting you know that he is a personal trainer and coach. He is not a golfer. Because I have many clients who are anywhere from scratch golfers to a 20 handicap, I decided to get he got his level 1 TPI certification a few years back. The golf fitness course, in my opinion, takes that to another level. Janice provided me with a plethora of information that is not only for the golfer, but is adaptable to clients to every demographic. Her videos were concise and easy to understand, as well as being professionally produced. Janice employs protocols that are easily transferable from the youth athletes that I train to my strength training clients, as well as the active aging baby boomers who make up the majority of my clientele. To say I highly recommend Janice Thornton's golf fitness course would be an understatement. Thank you for providing this course and making it easy for the non-golfer to understand. Chris, Fitness for Golf is not only thorough, but explains the key components and material behind a golf swing. The videos complement the course nicely, as well as explain pertinent and key things a personal trainer should understand when it comes to the game of golf. I highly recommend the course. Chris is a physical therapist, sports physio, and personal trainer himself. And then Scott, he is a personal trainer. He's a golfer. And this course impacted me in 2 different ways. Number 1, I've been an on and off golfer basically my entire life and taking it more seriously in the last year or so. I also have a 16-year background in health and wellness as a gym owner and personal trainer. This course really helped me not only from a personal training standpoint, understanding what movements to do, how to support specific areas of my body, shoulders, hips, core, low back, things necessary to improve my swing, improve the swing velocity, just the core mechanics of everything. From a personal training standpoint, I think any personal trainer that wants to target more of a clientele that is focused on golf and wants to improve mechanics, this course serves so much for so many people. From a client perspective, understanding what you need to do and how to improve things. For that personal trainer that is really looking to help their clients with some of the golf mechanics, it's found in this course. I couldn't recommend this course anymore. So Janice, thank you so much for creating it. It's incredible. It is something that you can go through over and over again. Tons of knowledge, quizzes, downloads, full detailed descriptions visually, and everything I couldn't ask for anymore. And for all of those that are thinking about getting this course, jump in with both feet. You will not be disappointed. So get started today. And how do you do that? So the regular price of Fitness for Golf is $497, but I'm going to offer you $100 off with the promo code June100. So you can get this course for $397. This is good through Sunday, June 30th, 2024 at 9 p.m. Mountain Time. So in the comments, if you are watching this live or you are watching this on the replay, just say I'm in. So this way I can drop the link. I'll make sure that link gets into the comments for you. So that way you can get your discounted price. I know this time of year, we definitely aren't as busy usually as personal trainers, at least here in Arizona. A lot of people have gone away for the summer. So it's a little lighter on the light side. So summertime's a great time to get some continuing education credits done. So anyway, with all of that being said, I would love to say thank you and see what kind of questions you all have. If you are watching the replay, please make sure that again that you are putting in the comments of what questions that you have, and then that you're in that you want that link. So I'm going to leave this and see, does anyone have any questions that they want to ask? And if not, I want to wish everyone to have a fantastic day.